Welcome to day 4 of Shift Your Relationship. The topic tonight is the spiral. And what I mean by that is life and love don't move in a straight line. And we're going to really talk about what that means. So I'm going to cover what the spiral is, what I mean by it, and how this impacts and affects your relationships. Then we are going to look at a story of mine and, how that played out. And then we're going to do a practice. So far in the 5-day challenge, we've looked at day 1, the couple frequency, so the energetics. Then we've looked at day 2, the resistance. So we have this power to change and shift our relationship. The reason we're not is resistance and fear. Day 3, we've looked at really nourishing ourselves rather than the story, and what that actually means, being really present. And here we are now on day 4, which is the second big action step that we can take that can really shift things in your relationship. And this is actually something I use a whole lot in my kind of healing framework. I find this is something that once people get their head around, it is so useful as a model for living and life. The spiral. It's something I've become really passionate about as well. I love the spiral. Love it. So to talk about the spiral, we need to start with the head model. And the head model is the way that we've all been trained and conditioned and taught to kind of see life and love and our experiences here on the earth. And the way it goes in the head model is we're at point A, we want to get to point B, and in our head we imagine that we travel on a straight line to get from one to the other. Now notice this straight line is a slight incline going up. So not only is it a straight line, but it's also gradually improving in lifestyle, quality of life, circumstances, whatever. This is how we imagine it in our heads. And what this does for our life, and our love life is no exception, is it makes us believe that any deviation, any changes are a failure. We are a failure. Either we've stuffed up, or we are just unlucky, or the universe hates us, or things never turn out for me. There's always these big stories around why we are a failure. Why can I not just get from A to B? And really, what is kind of applauded and rewarded in our world is for us to be stoic enough not to shift or deviate from A to B. There is no attention to how it actually feels on this journey. It is just, you just gotta get there. No pain, no gain. Come on, stoic up. Now what this head version of our path does to us is it actually makes us feel like failures and makes us feel depressed. So I'm not a big fan of the straight line. The straight line doesn't work for us. Because the thing is, life and love don't move in a straight line. We move in spirals. So if you look at nature, pretty much any aspect of nature, you will notice there's spirals. There are spirals in the way seedlings unfurl. There are spirals in my passion fruit vine. There are spirals in shells and starfish. There are spirals in weather patterns and whirlpools in our DNA. You know, I recently discovered that our blood moves through our vessels in spirals. Spiral is the way that energy and matter organizes itself. So for us to think that it's a straight line really is going against nature. Just look at the way water organizes itself to get down a plug hole. It spirals. It's a much more efficient way of organizing things. You know, it's kind of like this, right? So it spirals up and down and in and out, because this is kind of 3D as well. Yeah. And there is so much going on with a spiral, you know. But basically, here's A and here's B. We don't move in a straight line. Have you noticed this? It's never as direct or as simple as we imagine. It's like, yeah, things are going well. And then we're feeling ourselves getting off path, or something changing, or, you know, a block or something like that. And we can feel ourselves contracting and holding on and not wanting to let it go. And then eventually the tension explodes and we surrender. And finally we come back up and we expand. And when we get back up here, we're different. We're changed because of this experience. Yeah. And so we course correct here. It's not a straight line because we're growing. And the reason I believe we move in a spiral, apart from the fact that it's just the way of energy and life and nature, is that we cover more surface area this way. And our soul has us here to grow and evolve. And if we're moving in a straight line, we're really just skimming off the top, and we're not getting involved. We're not getting down and dirty. We're not getting maximum surface area for our life path. So this spiral is all about growth and learning and gathering wisdom. And this is the way we naturally move. If we are not fighting it and trying to cling stoically to the straight line, you will notice yourself moving in spirals. So in a relationship, if we follow the straight line, the head kind of idea of things, the idea there is that we meet someone, we love, and then we die. Straight line. In between we'll have kids and picket fences and a cat and a dog. That's it. Like, the idea with the straight line is that we will just be happy and getting happier as we go along. The idea is that we will never deviate from this path. We'll never be challenged. We'll never feel like a failure. And we will always feel love and passion and desire for our partner. So if we follow the straight line approach when it comes to our relationships, we are going to have a really hard time of it. We're going to get really disappointed. We have our expectations dashed. We're going to resist any challenge. And we're going to feel like shit about ourselves and our partner. Whereas if we embrace the spiral, challenge becomes normal and expected. Okay, being down here is not the end of the world, because we know that this is maximum growth and expansion material. This is grit. We know that this is an opportunity. We know the aim is growth, not happiness facade. And we can trust this rather than fear it and avoid it. And this really ties in with one of the big points I made in last night's session, which was talking about nourishing ourselves. When we're really present with our emotions, our uncomfortable emotions, you know, we get freedom, we get power, we don't have to fear and avoid, and we can be really truthful. But the other great thing about being okay with being uncomfortable is that we can be okay down here. And so everything's okay. We know this is going to pass. And we know we can handle it because we're here for ourselves. We're not abandoning ourselves. So I'm going to invite you now to just take a moment to reflect. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and put your hands on your heart. What would it mean for you in your relationship if you could let go of the straight line and embrace the spiral? What would it mean you could let go of? What would it mean for the pressure? What would it mean for your perfectionist ideals? For the control? Now I'm going to invite you to tune in to how it feels in your body. So just breathing in into your heart and breathing out. Breathing in again. And this time when you exhale, let go of the need for things to be in a straight line. Breathe it out. Let it go. And now on the next inhale, breathe in the surrender to being on the spiral. It's okay to move up and down. I want to remind you as well in this moment, as you're here with your hands on your heart, that, you know, on an internal health and well-being level, it is not actually healthy or well to be flatlining. In fact, it means you're dead. Our bodies keep us alive by going up and down around a midpoint, a midline. It's called homeostasis. And this is healthy. We don't stay in a straight line. We go from one extreme to the other and back again. And this is a healthy body. A healthy heart has heart rate variability. And so does a healthy soul, you know, has peaks and troughs, has ups and downs, has ins and outs. So I want to share a little bit about my story when it comes to the spiral. So a fair few years back, maybe about 5 or 6, I had a real crisis in my libido. It totally tanked. And for ages, I was in contraction and avoidance. I did not want to have a libido problem. I just wanted to have a good sex life and not have to think about it. You know, and I had total blind spot when it came to sex and not wanting to really have to deal with it and look at it. And so, you know, this really was me on a sort of downward turn in my spiral. I was kind of here. But what happened was, because I didn't want to deal with it, and this can happen, is like, actually, let's do it on this other graph here I've got here. So you've got your ups and your downs. But what happens when you really don't want to deal with it is you get stuck in the down. Kind of plateau there for ages because you don't want to deal with it. You're just avoiding it. You're in denial. And I was there. I was like, no, I don't want to look at this. Eventually, I did. I kind of went, okay, Nicole, no more. I turned towards it. And I opened to the discomfort. I kind of opened to this point. I was like, yes, this is where I'm at. And this is where I'm going to have to meet me. You know? So I just did a bit of kind of what we were talking about last night with the nourishing. I was like, I'm here. What's going on? What's going on? And just the turning towards it meant that I could release and let go of having to be so contracted and stuck around it. The down there was my invitation, actually. It was an invitation to get closer, to get close and familiar and intimate with myself and get really honest. It was a beautiful invitation, and I look back at that time and think, thank God, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, you know, because it made me get real with myself, stop putting my head in the sand. It made me get really honest with my husband. It made us closer, it made us connect in our truth rather than in what I wanted our truth to be. It has led us down a beautiful path of intimacy. And I am really, really grateful. These moments are invitations. They're invitations from and to your radiant woman, the part of you that is your champion, the part of you that can totally be present, can totally be boundaried, can totally know what the best plan and action is for this moment. The part of you that trusts. You know, and really all we need to do when we are down here is trust. Trust that we're not going to be there forever. Trust that turning towards this and being present and actually allowing ourselves to be there is what's going to help us come out of it. Yeah. And so our practice tonight is to tune in to your invitation. What is your invitation right now? Where are you on the spiral? Are you in expansion up here? Can you feel yourself going down? And are you really holding on? Are you kind of contracting and clinging in this area here? Are you in rock bottom or tension? Are you in surrender? Or are you in expansion? Let's just take a moment to tune in and see where we're at. Take a deep breath in, hands on heart, eyes closed. And I want you to think about your couple frequency and your resistance and where you are in your relationship status, story right now. And if you're single, it's the same for you. I want you to I want you to get out of your head and feel into where you are in your where you are in your spiral. And how does it feel? And what if, rather than fighting it or distracting from it or contracting or denying like I did, which just prolongs the agony, what if you just allowed yourself to be there? What if you just softened in and trusted that this is part of it, part of your growth, part of your evolution, part of your wisdom gathering? So what you are going through right now is gathering experience, more surface area, more wisdom. And just breathe. Breathe into it. Nourish yourself in it. Allow yourself to be there. So yeah, wherever you're at in your spiral is your invitation. It's your invitation to grow, to turn towards yourself, to embrace change and growth and challenge. So, to summarize tonight's session, we don't move in straight lines. That is a myth that makes us feel like failures. That is a myth that sets us up for depression and a feeling of hopelessness. We move in spirals. We move up and down in cyclical, rhythmical waves around a midline. It helps us to move like this because it allows us to cover more surface area so that we can grow. The spiral is an invitation to embrace our challenges. Challenges equal growth, and growth, as we know from the Tony Robbins quote a couple of days ago, equals satisfaction. So the spiral is a way of embracing and getting the most out of life and love and your relationship. I love this quote. The author is unknown, but it says, life is like a roller coaster. It has its ups and downs, but it's your choice to either scream or enjoy the ride. Isn't that awesome? So thank you so much for watching, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. And I would love to hear how embracing the spiral might help you shift things for your relationship. How could you soften? How could you let go of the myths that are holding you back and making you feel disappointed? I'd love to hear from you. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow night for day 5. Bye.